All hobbies now have such demanding micro-communities surrounding them these days, trophy hunting more than most. With the PS5 generation now at its midpoint of its expected life cycle, PlayStation lovers and Platinum collectors have a huge list of games that they all expect PS5 owners to have in their trophy cabinets. Here are the 10 best PS5 Platinum trophies that everybody expects you to have. So let's go! Starting short and sweet with the very first day one release for the revamped PlayStation Plus is Stray. In this dystopian cyber city, we play as an adorable ginger Tom separated from our pack and simply trying to get home. On the way, we meet an even cuter sidekick named B12 after the game's developers. The two form an unlikely bond on their adventure, which sees the finale reach a truly deserved emotional climax. This indie gem creates a grand sense of mystery in its environment and the unique perspective we explore it from. Our protagonist's inability to talk further increases this feeling as we receive information from B12 directly, interactive items in the world, and unlocking B12's memories. This Platinum suits its game wonderfully, with its estimated completion time of 8 hours, only 2 playthroughs, and a particularly frustrating trophy, the Can't Catch Me Goldie, for escaping that first Zerk attack without taking any damage. The movements of these parasitic little buggers are RNG determined, making this trophy incredibly unpredictable. Collectibles do not accumulate over playthroughs, so make sure to catch them all in your first run. The second run is for the I Am Speed Goldie, which requires you complete the story in under 2 hours. This sounds far more intimidating than it really is, as the story can be done in an hour, and after your first run grabbing all the collectibles, you should know the areas and puzzles well enough to blitz through. Stray is a delightful feline-led adventure in a glorious post-humanity dystopian world that everyone expects you to not just play, but to platinum. What? A Bethesda game? But they're owned by Microsoft, Zach! I know, but it was a timed PS5 exclusive and is arguably one of the most fun Platinum trophies you'll ever earn. It certainly was for me. Deathloop is a roguelike set in the Dishonored universe, but for some reason the devs wanted that kept quiet. Spoilers, I guess, I'm sorry. We play as Colt as he relives the same day over and over like a gun-toting Bill Murray, hunted by the persistent Juliana. Colt must solve the mystery of where he is, how this place works, and how to break this infuriating cycle. Story is pretty much forgettable, the gameplay is rather generic, but the more you play around in this world, the more fun it becomes. Everything great about the game sits outside of its story. The best trophies are the miscellaneous ones for either killing Eternalists or even unaliving yourself. Explore Black Reef, get to know your enemies' movements, build weapons and mod them with amazing trinkets, and approach each mission however the hell you want. Deathloop, the game is mid, but this trophy list is fucking brilliant and designed for trophy hunters and completionists. One word of warning, the DLC introduced enemies that explode when they see you, even if you don't see them. These enemies are introduced to everyone's game, so be warned when going for the stealth trophies or the cleanish hands silvo. You can fail the trophy without even realising it. Good luck! You knew that Peter Parker would swing his way onto this list, didn't you? We rejoined Team Spidey in New York in the follow-up to arguably PS4's most popular exclusive. With best friend Harry sick, still mourning the passing of Aunt May, not having his life in order at all, the last thing Peter Parker needed was to be targeted by a psychotic, bloodthirsty Kraven the Hunter. But Kraven isn't the only member of Spider-Man's sinister rogues gallery to show up. Spider-Man 2 feels more refined than the first game, and its story is fantastic. The visual changes to Pete still feel like a gross mistake and remains a jarring experience, but the performances are very strong throughout, and the game has an enjoyably consistent rise in tempo as it progresses. The Platinum is slightly easier and shorter than the first game, indicative of Sony's approach to their own trophy lists so far in the PS5 generation. The two games' comparative Platinum rarities reflecting this. A 20-hour story is followed up by a 10 to 15-hour cleanup session with the same objectives as the first game. The balance between story and Platinum is far better in this installment than its predecessor, and I don't remember feeling much filler throughout my playtime. Collect all the things, finish all the side objectives, and swing your way to another Spider-Man Platinum. cold, dead heart with a little warmth. Or maybe that's just the Russian vodka putting hairs on my chest. Destroy All Humans 2 is available on PS4 and PS5, but I ran into a few bugs on my way to getting the PS4 Platinum, so I suggest you go current gen with this one. Less espionage and secrecy this time round, as we start with a bang. The KGB blow up the mothership with poor old Pox aboard. But unluckily for poor old Crypto, Pox goes full Arnold J. Rimmer and becomes Hollow Pox. Crypto, bored of playing President, is sent on a revenge mission against their vodka-drinking nemesis. The Platinum is similar to the first game, with the story being your first objective. From there it's side missions, upgrades, collectibles, and of course, those fun Crypto special miscellaneous trophies. Everything in Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed is a glorious melding of 50s sci-fi horror and 80s we dick and fart humour, thrown at us straight from the noughties. The weapons are as ridiculous as they are crude, the characters are pure caricatures, the plot is utterly ludicrous. It's all brilliant. Not only is Ragnarok's Platinum one of the most enjoyable post-story experiences there is out there in gaming, but Santa Monica also added free DLC that will have you embracing your inner Spartan and unleashing the raw power of the God of War. We rejoin Kratos and Atreus in their latest one-shot adventure in Thimblewinter, ushering in the start of Ragnarok. A host of favourites from the 2018 revival return to aid the Ghost of Sparta in defeating Odin and saving the realms. Ragnarok builds on what the first game did so well, but this time improves enemy variation, adds grapple attacks that diversifies the combat, and a cool new weapon that really does feel like the finishing touch on a perfect combat system. The story is about 20 hours and frankly rather disappointing to me personally, but as always the wonderful Santa Monica team packs so much lore, story and character development into absolutely everything in the game, I don't feel any of the 20-hour post-story cleanup is superfluous or gratuitous. It's a gloriously designed post-game experience that rewards adventure and exploration, perfectly balanced. No real tricky trophies to worry about. It's akin to Spider-Man 2 in difficulty and grind, as they're both reduced from their PS4 counterparts. The introduction of some rather interesting accessibility options do make the Platinum a 3 out of 10 difficulty at most. But the 40-50 hours you spend with Kratos as he undergoes his latest big development won't be enough. The game is so good you'll be itching for a little bit more. So Santa Monica made the Valhalla roguelike DLC free, and in this short but enjoyable story we see the Greek and Norse sagas finally fully brought together. No spoilers, but an essential Platinum for any fan of our ash-laden anti-hero.
Folks see this and they'll know we haven't completely given up. Not yet.
Explosive colour in every environment, banter that will make you laugh your arse off, and great characters written and performed brilliantly. Guardians of the Galaxy may have been an early release on the PS5, but it's still one of the most popular Platinums we've had yet in this generation. Peter Quill and his family of hapless hero cohorts inadvertently cause utter chaos, as usual, leading them to have to save the day. The Star-Lord approach to heroing. Combat is fun and you can unite with teammates for fun duo moves, but you only control Quill, much to the game's detriment. The story characters, sublime environments, exquisite visuals throughout, and fun, simple gameplay is held together with hilarious banter and deep emotional arcs. Guardians does have a missable trophy, and you do need to at least load up New Game Plus for the outfit collectible trophy, but these aren't big deals, and they won't be difficult to find. Just remember not to spend any money until you pay your Novacore fine. You'll know when it's paid. You're free to do whatever you like after it's paid. There isn't anything particularly difficult, and there is chapter select for those miscellaneous combat trophies that you might need to farm at the end. If you know not to pay your fine, then you do not need a guide, at least not until cleanup. So kick back, thrash out to some headbangers from the 80s, and take a paternity test. Things are about to get really fucked up.
Position and get the engines warmed up, but you're gonna have to release those clamps manually.
All right, release the clamps and don't die.
Jedi Survivor. Sequel to EA's best game in years, Jedi Survivor is set 5 years after the events of Fallen Order and sees our boy Cal fighting the Empire in the midst of Order 66. With a new friend Bode in tow, Cal reunites with old friends as they try to survive the culling and salvage the Jedi Order. Combat and traversal are even more enjoyable here than they were in the first game, and despite EA sticking with the god-awful 3D holo map, I will say that the environments are moderately easier to navigate than its predecessors, especially when you've unlocked all of your required traversal and travel mods. The story starts well and evolves nicely, but the ending can be divisive. For me, it killed my love of the game completely, but it is a fully subjective issue. The story will take 20 hours and can be done on any difficulty. The platinum cleanup will require another 30, as you have bounties to collect, fish to catch, legendary adversaries to vanquish, a cantina to fill with buddies, and an assortment of intergalactic shenanigans to get up to. Jedi Survivor is available on EA Play for anyone with a subscription. It is, however, essential that you have played Fallen Order previously. Despite Outlaw's recent release, it seems abundantly clear that Cal's story is still the best Star Wars release on PS5 to date. Will you lead Cal down a dark path, or hold true to the light? Let us know in the comments. Time Splitters 2. Yes, this is a PS2 classic, but it wasn't until a few months ago that any of the Holy Trilogy were playable since that generation on PlayStation consoles. Now, this happens to be my favourite FPS of all time, easily one of the top 3 games I've ever played, so although the entire trilogy belongs on this list, I am going to focus here on the central installment. So for PlayStation to finally revive it on PS5 with trophies and 6 platinums across the trilogy for both PS4 and PS5 stacks, this one is a must-play and a must-plat for all trophy hunters, or maybe just all trophy hunters my age. The trilogy's brilliance and importance to gaming in that generation cannot be understated, and frankly, for a 20-year-old game franchise, this holds up real good. All 3 platinums are very similar: complete the story on normal or hard, knock out the odd miscellaneous trophy, and then work on those hard challenges. Now, these were hella hard back in the day, but thanks to the rewind feature in PS Plus Classics, you can just turn back time, don't use that, and resurrect yourself, or, unscrew up that dumb thing you just did. Now, I'm not going to lie here, it came in real useful for me more than once. Now, each game is around 4 out of 10 difficulty with nothing overly difficult, and that rewind feature really does minimise the risk of platinum failure. Each is a 10 to 12 hour platinum and will be time truly well spent as you lead Cortez and the team through time to find the time crystals and stop the vile time splitters from destroying everything. Gotta catch them all. That's pretty catchy, someone should use that for a game's catchphrase. Not a game I'm too familiar with personally. I'm not particularly familiar with this game, am I?
Who am I kidding?
Oh, I love to talk about the Forgotten City. This ingenious Skyrim mod turned indie masterpiece that took the world by storm is the glorious product of one man's creativity, one man's efforts, one man's sacrifice. The creation of this game is enough to warrant earning its platinum. But its platinum is worth earning in its own glorious shining light. The multiple playthroughs are not repetitious or boring, rather fascinating as they uncover things that you couldn't possibly have seen in your previous runs. The canon ending is one of my favourite endings in all of video games, and I don't gush over modern games often, nor do I suffer the heavy feels when I get a good ending. But this one grabbed me by the short and curlies and tugged so hard I cried like a baby on my mummy's lap. Nothing hard, nothing complicated, nothing frustrating or RNG based, nothing truly missable, and even if it is, the whole point of a narrative-led roguelike like the Forgotten City is that you can just jump in for another run. And if, like me, one trip just isn't enough and you crave a return to the moral and philosophical questions the game not only raises but forces you to internally debate, then you can always stack the game as it's available on PS4 and PS5.
Man came close to him.
Rift Apart. Ratchet & Clank made their PS5 debut in the multiverse-hopping Rift Apart as we meet otherworldly counterparts Rivet and Kit. I think I'm saving the best to last with this brilliant modern instalment of one of gaming's most beloved mascot duos. Much like Peter Quill's self-made disaster, Ratchet too is responsible for his own perils. When Dr. Nefarious attacks a parade to celebrate our Lomax hero, Ratchet shoots the Dimensionator that rips holes in reality and sends Ratchet, Clank and Nefarious into the multiverse. In this early PS5 PS5 title, you will not only alternate between our mainline dynamic duo, but also Rivet, Kit, and Glitch. Each character is pretty similar, but has a distinguishing move or ability that is specifically relevant to their levels. The Platinum is a delight, short, sweet, and to the point, whilst ensuring that you get more bang for your buck than just playing the story. One missable trophy to be aware of, however, and that arrives in the Blitzer and Cordelian level, where you are required to hit all 30 Blizon crystals, but due to one of them becoming inaccessible post-story, this made it missable. A patch is said to have removed the requirement to hit all 30 crystals, however, and now it is reported that hitting the other 29 will pop the trophy for you, making it accessible during your post-campaign cleanup. There isn't a huge amount to worry about after the story. Collectibles, upgrades, and the challenges aren't too laborious and won't be a huge grind. In all, you're looking at 10 to 12 hours to platinum, one of the most enjoyable platinums you'll ever earn.
One isn't fair, so this one's on my team.
Which of these incredible games have you platinumed? Which are you adding to your wish list right now? And if you enjoyed this video and want to see 10 more easy PS5 platinums that everyone and their dog expects you to have, make sure you're subbed with notifications on, because we're going to have a sequel to this vid out in the next week or two. But the next one will have a twist.